Most people assume infidelity is only a problem when it turns physical, but emotional infidelity can cut just as deep, and in many cases, even deeper. When a partner gives their affection, attention, and emotional intimacy to someone else, it leaves the betrayed partner questioning their place in the relationship. And because emotional cheating is so often minimized, excused away with phrases like, "we were just friends," the betrayal can feel even more isolating and invalidating. In this episode, we're going to break down why emotional infidelity is so damaging, why it needs to be taken seriously, and what couples can do to address the fallout and create clearer boundaries that protect intimacy. If your relationship has been shattered by betrayal and you feel stuck and lost, you're in the right place.
This is From Crisis to Connection, a closer look at the process of how couples in crisis transform betrayal into healing, rejuvenating connection.
Every episode, we dissect the healing journey so you can understand what actually works and what you can do to thrive again.
You'll step onto a clear path toward personal wholeness and vibrant partnership.
We are your hosts, Geoff and Jody Steurer.
In this episode, we're going to look at the impact of emotional infidelity through three lenses. First, what it feels like for the betrayed partner when their partner shares emotional intimacy somewhere else. Then, what the recovering partner must recognize and take responsibility for if healing is going to be possible. And finally, we'll explore what this means for the couple as a whole, how boundaries and clarity around fidelity can protect the relationship moving forward. Okay, so let's talk about emotional infidelity. And you know what's wild to me is that a lot of people that I work with have a hard time calling it emotional affair, emotional cheating, emotional infidelity. Like, it's some reason, like, that term doesn't, for them, a lot of the times there's resistance on both parts, the betrayed partner and the recovering partner, to attach that to emotions.
What do you mean, attach it to emotions?
I think when it's like a sexual affair or some kind of physical thing, people are like, oh yeah, that's definitely an affair. But using that word when it's emotions or just talking to somebody or getting close, somehow it feels like
an affair can't
yes.
apply to that.
It's harder, yes.
Even though, yeah, wow, I'm kind of surprised by that.
Mm-hmm. Now, admittedly, that's oftentimes more the person who's doing it that tends to minimize it.
Okay, sure.
But even a lot of betrayed partners sometimes feel like it shouldn't be called that. There's a part of them that's like, yeah, it feels really serious, but it's kind of like, well, but it wasn't, it wasn't sex,
Yeah, which is too bad because it's really damaging for a relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's where I start with a lot of people in talking about this, is that it's okay for the betrayed partner to hold on to how this feels. And not use minimizing language around it because it wasn't sexual.
Is that maybe because with a sexual betrayal, there's an external, like physical, tangible something that happened, as opposed to something that's internal that can't necessarily be quantified?
Measured, yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, even though people still will even minimize physical stuff.
Sure.
And say, well, I've heard
it could have been so much worse. It wasn't really as bad as you think. And yeah.
Yeah. I've heard all kinds of justifications, even around what would seem to be pretty measurable physical stuff, but definitely with emotional stuff. It's so much easier. And I think that's where a lot of betrayed partners feel insecure or unsure about how they should react to this.
Even though their authentic response is
no,
a betrayal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where does that straitjacket come from?
For the betrayed partner?
Yeah. Why this pressure to just not?
I think it mostly comes from the person who's crossing the lines. I think the pressure's coming from them.
Okay.
To somehow, either if they're caught or the betrayed partner is suspicious or confronts it or talks about it, I think that there is a tendency for that person who's been crossing the lines or is in that gray area or whatever to talk about it like, hey, there's nothing to see here.
Mm-hmm.
But the betrayed partner's alarms are going off, the flags are going off, and they're saying, something doesn't feel right about this. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they're gaslit or manipulated or pressured, coerced into believing that there's nothing to see here, even though everything in their body is saying, except that there is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. They're feeling all of that, even if technically there's nothing to see, but they are sensing what's really happening, which is the partner is turning somewhere else for connection.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what they're picking up on.
Mm-hmm.
They can feel when something like that is offsides, that there's something out that's going outside the relationship. It feels like it's not exclusive anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to just be sexual for that to be a problem. In fact, a lot of betrayed partners will say to me, in some ways, I can understand somebody having a lapse in judgment and having a one-night stand, as awful as that is. And I'm certainly not acting like that's not traumatic, because it is. But the long burn of an emotional connection with somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
even though the justification might be like, well, it wasn't sex, can still be so corrosive and damaging to a long-term to a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
When you've had days, hours, weeks, months of connecting with this other person versus having, again, I'm just holding this up as a comparison for illustration purposes, versus having a one-night stand, for example, or just this moment of, like a crime of passion, if you will, where the other one feels like it's like so premeditated, it's like so connecting, there's so much there. So betrayed partners definitely can feel very confused, like I shouldn't care about this because this one line that we all agreed, sex, for example, didn't get crossed. So then anything behind that line doesn't really count.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if there isn't any physical affection or intimacy yet.
Mm-hmm.
It is surprising to me how people are not more careful of opposite sex friendships outside the marriage.
What are you seeing?
There's this idea that adults can have other relationships with other members of the opposite sex that are like very deep and fill a need with somebody who's not their partner. And I think that's really dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know we both feel the same way about that in our relationship. And I think in general, it's bad practice. I don't think it's smart.
Because there are so many dangers.
Yeah. The word for me is familiarity.
Right. I like that. Say more about that.
I think familiarity is something that happens through proximity, through ease of access. And we can talk more about this later when we talk kind of the couples here, but I'll just say to a betrayed partner, if you're picking up on something, feeling like your partner's too familiar, too approximate to another person, is that a word?
Proximate?
Proximate.
Yeah.
I'm from Oklahoma, so I give myself a pass.
Yeah.
But to have this sense that, man, there's just something that feels really familiar and really kind of free and open with this other person.
Yes.
That is a legit red flag. And I think it's okay as a betrayed partner for you to not talk yourself out of that.
Yeah.
And to allow yourself to say, wait a second, I'm not liking this.
Yeah, no, not one spouse in the world should be okay with their partner feeling free and open with somebody of the opposite sex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There just should always be some restraint there in order to preserve the relationship.
Yeah. Yep. So if you're feeling like, well, if you're being told by perhaps your spouse, your partner who's really loosey-goosey, familiar, whatever, with other people, or just something about it feels off, you don't have to ignore that. You don't have to just pretend that, well, just because they're not having sex, then I should be okay with it. It's eroding something special between the two of you that really should only be for you too. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
It's bad practice to just ignore that.
Yeah. And that doesn't make you the jealous type to name that and to own that scenario is creating a threat to you.
Mm-hmm. And I'm okay using the word jealous in that context. I think it's okay.
Oh, yeah.
I think you should be.
Well, that's why I say the
protective,
jealous type, because I think that's part of what contributes to the bind. Women don't, they're like, oh, don't be all uptight about this. There's no need to.
Just be a cool wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think it's something to watch out for. And for a betrayed partner to not be self-critical or second guess that, to follow that instinct and at least have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you've been betrayed through emotional infidelity, don't minimize what happened. You're not overreacting, and you don't have to talk yourself out of the alarms going off inside you. When your partner shares intimacy, familiarity, and affection with someone else, it erodes something sacred that belongs to only the two of you. Trust what you feel. Your response makes sense.
Now, when we're talking about the partner, the recovering partner, the partner who's broken the trust, when it comes to emotional infidelity, emotional cheating, emotional affairs, the level of minimizing, denial and stuff that goes on around this, to me, it's profound. And I think it's really easy to do because this can look like such a gray area.
Yeah.
But yet it's so deeply threatening to the relationship.
Why does it look like a gray area?
Well, I think just like we were talking about before, because when a couple has their vows, it's generally about sexual monogamy, right? One partner, it's our sexual bond. We're not sharing this with other people. And so that becomes the line. That becomes this clear delineation. And you would probably, if you lined up 100 other people, everybody would agree.
Yeah.
That's a line you don't cross.
Right.
Everything leading up to that line, with the exception of probably things getting physical, but even hugs.
Yeah.
Right. But I would say definitely like holding hands and kissing and all the things that lead up to sex proper. Most people would be like, that's not okay, whatever. That's probably not good. That's cheating. But everything that's not physical, that's where I think the gray area is for a lot of people. I know for us in our relationship, we've had these conversations. And we've got stories. I've shared them on the podcast before where I had some blind spots around, being too friendly or too familiar with other women early in our marriage that I wasn't even aware of. It was seriously just cluelessness. But those bring up a lot of conversations about where those lines are. And so for people who aren't talking about it, or who are just in an environment where things become familiar and you're just becoming too casual, it's gray in the sense that I think it sneaks up on people. I think feelings start to develop or chemistry starts to happen. And I think part of the denial is just saying, there's nothing here, because on one level, it feels really nice.
Yeah.
And on the other level, it doesn't seem to have any sort of obvious smoking gun, like nothing's happened, quote unquote, right? Nothing. I hear that all the time. Nothing happened. And I'm like, things are happening.
Yes. Yeah. Nothing physical, nothing concrete happened. But the feelings that are growing, that are developing, or the bonds that you're continuing to nurture, that is happening.
I think it's totally possible to have chemistry with people you're not married to,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, which is why it's important to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not put yourself in a position where you're really enjoying chemistry with somebody who's not your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Is there ever a time that chemistry and friendship is fine outside of a marriage with somebody of the opposite sex?
Yeah, I do. I think there is a place for that, but I think it's
Okay.
protected by the marriage. So we've got some couples friends
Uh-huh.
that we hang out with, and I'm more like the wife,
Yeah.
right? She and I have very similar energy.
Yeah, you kind of get each other.
Uh-huh. And we laugh and whatever else, but I am not doing that with her privately.
Okay.
You're in the room, her husband's in the room.
Uh-huh.
We're enjoying that company. There's no private moments.
Right.
And it's just it's safe, it's playful, it's funny, and it ends
Right.
when the evening ends.
Right.
We're done. I'm not texting her. We're not DMing each other.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other context where that's happening. And so it's just more fun that we can all just enjoy kind of our natural, chemistry is the word. And it's safe inside the container. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's when it turns private. It's when it starts to become special. It's like, oh, you get me more than my partner gets me.
Mm-hmm.
We're so much like each other.
Yeah.
We start, that's where the slippery
Yeah.
slope starts to happen.
Yeah, but I want to say, like, there can be a very natural sense of entitlement around, like, I'm an adult. I can just have friendships. You can't boss my friendships.
Mm-hmm.
And people could feel constricted by not being able to have more of those kinds of friendships.
Yeah.
Where's the line of propriety there?
Mm-hmm. What do you think? I mean, I have my opinion, but
I guess I think, along the lines of like shared experiences for sure.
mm-hmm.
But also anything that would create a sense of threat in the spouse. So it would be very tailored
Yeah.
to each marriage.
Right. Yeah.
That's kind of my sense of it. How about you?
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely know couples, both personally and in my practice over the years, who have, let's say, opposite sex friends in heterosexual marriages where it's somebody that perhaps was a dear friend before they were married, someone from their past, a childhood friend. I've seen all kinds of configurations like that. And I'll borrow the phrase that Shirley Glass uses, which I just loved, which is that person is a friend of the marriage. It's not just, they're not so once you're married to once you get married, that other friend is now a guest in the marriage.
Okay.
They don't have exclusive access or right to just the one person.
Right.
That's where it changes.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that. The exclusiveness of a relationship outside. That's where the trouble can begin to grow.
I think so. Yeah. So if you're the person that has crossed the line and if for someone that has engaged in some kind of an emotional affair, I think it's really critical to check yourself on your language, your minimizing language around, again, referencing Shirley Glass again, her book is called Not, quote, Just Friends, which is the phrase people often use. We're just friends. And we know from Gottman's research and others that a really healthy marriage relationship is the deepest kind of friendship. So just friends is not as innocent perhaps as it might sound. It's intimacy, it's connection, it's knowing somebody deeply and sharing things with that other person that really belong to your marriage is a violation of that contract, especially if you're sharing things that you wouldn't want your partner to see. So if you're concealing text messages, leaving things out that you wouldn't want your partner to hear, then you're in really dangerous territory. There shouldn't be secrets like that between you and your partner if you're going to have trust.
So what is the recommendation for somebody who feels like they can't share those things with their partner because their partner doesn't respond to them the way they would like, or doesn't listen, or any variety of things, which is what makes friendships outside the marriage so appealing.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say it's a key question, but it's also a key risk factor for setting up an emotional affair.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's part of the justification
Okay.
of, I have a right to have emotional intimacy with somebody. And my partner isn't that person. They're not good at it. They're not open. They're judgmental. They're self-righteous. They're rude. They're closed down. I mean, the list goes on. So I'm just looking for somebody to talk to. I have to have it. It's like oxygen. And
Right. But if it's really like oxygen, you can get it from somebody who's like your same sex.
Sure.
You can go to another organic friend and get it, and you'll be fine.
I mean, yes, you could, but most people are wanting it in the form that it takes with the romantic piece. It's it feels different, for me talking to a dude about my emotional struggles than another woman who's going to be feminine and talk to me. Right. Again, in a heterosexual arrangement like that, it's going to be like, it's going to feel different. And so that's the slippery slope.
Well,
yeah,
because there's a piece there that's also like dodging the vulnerability that would be required if you take that to your spouse who might not be good at it.
Oh, right.
And that's what's required.
Yeah.
Of putting the marriage first,
right.
is being willing to go there so that you can deepen that with your spouse.
That's right.
Rather than taking the easy way.
Yeah, exactly. Because really emotional affairs are, yes, it feels like this special relationship, but essentially, I'm just going to say it directly, it's really just using another person for your own emotional comfort. It's not real intimacy. Real intimacy would be telling your partner, I don't know how to talk to you.
Oh. Yeah, that is the real intimacy. Wow.
Yeah. You can do that. Now we're talking.
You're right.
It's like,
now, we're going to get somewhere with that conversation.
Yeah. If you've crossed the line into emotional infidelity, please stop telling yourself it was harmless or you're just friends. When you give your closeness, your secrets, or your comfort to someone outside of your marriage, you're using that person at the expense of your partner and your relationship. Real intimacy is not about escaping. It's about bringing your full honesty and vulnerability back to your spouse.
So couples can easily find themselves in a circumstance like this, where connection is starting to build outside the marriage, really naively.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about how that can grow.
Yeah, and I think it's, again, Shirley Glass was probably the foremost researcher on emotional infidelity, and she said that emotional affairs can happen to really good marriages.
Okay.
It's not just a sign that you have a bad marriage that you're going to have an emotional affair. And I've seen that to be the case, where people will come in and they'll say, we have a really good marriage. How could this happen to us? And it's about proximity. I said earlier, it's about familiarity. It's about access. And in today's modern society, we have way more access to people than we ever did before.
Yeah.
Really, we do. Everything from friends from high school, where you can stir up old feelings about former flames, or wondering what they're up to now, or people that you don't even really know, but you feel connected to on social media. So then you start to build a relationship, because you can just talk about whatever, and there's no barriers anymore.
Yeah.
Not to mention just in the workplace, or even at church, or I've just seen so many different configurations where we just are more casual and less formal in our boundaries with other people.
Yeah. Well, the thing about that familiarity is more and more of it does build bonds. And the building of bonds should be saved for the marriage.
Yeah. I think that it feels nice to be connected to people.
Yeah.
Feels nice to have somebody know you.
Yeah.
And Yeah, there's
They-
nothing wrong with having connections with
and
other
even
people. Yeah.
even not know all of you. Maybe just know the best parts of you, or not be so close that they don't know you the way your spouse does. And
Well, yeah. I mean, that
you
feels
know.
really nice, right? Just to
Oh yeah.
have people just think the best of you all the time, right? Which is the total setup for these kinds of situations.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so avoiding familiarity. Are there other specific strategies that can be helpful to
Yeah.
couples?
I think couples, we've been talking about minimizing language. I think if one person says to the other person, hey, it feels like you're a little close or a little too friendly or a little too familiar, you got to take that seriously.
Okay.
You've got to protect, you've got to speak up, and then also take the feedback.
Okay, so I'm guessing that when that comes up, it doesn't come up like that. I'm guessing what comes up is language that's more along the lines of, you're spending too much time with that person.
Yeah, that's true.
And so what I'm saying is it's important to look beneath the surface of those kinds of comments.
Yeah.
And not just let it turn into, a battle, a power struggle, a battle over who gets to decide what to do with their time and who to spend it with. It's not about that. Those kinds of criticisms are about feeling threatened.
Yeah, because it can look on the surface like control.
Yeah.
Or power, domineering, or jealousy, like, oh, you just want me to only talk to you, or you're keeping me, the ball and chain or whatever. And the truth is there's been a threat. There are little flags going up, which is good for the marriage.
Yeah.
I get that it can get out of hand and people can be so controlling and so possessive that we're not talking about that.
No, I want to say in those situations that has a tendency, somebody puts pressure to isolate the other partner from all relationships.
That's
not
true.
just
That's true.
relationships of the opposite sex.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just much more intense.
Yeah.
And a whole different conversation.
Right. We can do another episode on that someday if we need to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I think that when it comes up, don't minimize it.
Yeah.
Have a conversation about what you're noticing, what you're feeling. And I'll give you an example. I've shared this on a previous podcast before, but you remember when I made that mix CD back when we used to make mix CDs? I made it for another woman.
Oh.
Do you remember this?
Kind
back in
of.
Arizona?
Yeah. Was it somebody you worked with?
Yeah.
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 I do remember that.
Uh-huh.
I did not like that.
Right. And I'm just clueless. I'm just making mix CDs because I love music and
you want to share it.
And this person liked I happened to learn that they liked a lot of the same kind of music. Oh, have you heard of this band? Have you heard of this band? So I put together a mix CD.
Because I'm not like that about music.
No.
And music is like this really cool, special thing that you really get into. So fun for you to have another person that can totally go down those rabbit holes with you.
So I make this other woman this mix CD.
Yeah.
And you're like,
No. Did you give it to her? And then we had the discussion, or were you making it for her?
No, I gave it to her.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And what's crazy about it is, I guess I was just pretty isolated in rural Oklahoma. I didn't know that that's what you do to tell a girl that you like them, is make them a mixtape back in the 80s.
Oh.
Did you know that was a thing?
I mean, yeah. Yeah. Kids who were coupling up would make each other mixtapes.
Yeah. So I was pretty isolated out there.
You weren't into that part of it.
I mean, I don't know. We didn't have neighbors. I don't know. We just wasn't a part. That wasn't a thing I did. So for me, it was very innocent. But man, it was feedback.
Yeah. Because to me, I did not like it at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and it didn't go anywhere. I mean, I never had any kind of private whatever feelings for her. There was nothing there in terms of anything more than just, oh, you like this music, here's this mix CD. But what I appreciated about it is it gave us an opening. This 20 years ago, it gave us an opening to be able to say, hey, where are the lines around familiarity, around shared interests, around connecting intimately around music, which is very emotional.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
well, around that. But like my world isn't the music world, but it's the plant world. And so what would it be like for me to make make a bunch of cuttings or starts that I like prepare for this other dude who understands that world. And I'm like
100%.
getting them all ready for
Right.
him to take to him so he can plant
And I
do
know what
his
he looks
stuff.
like in my mind right now.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's just about sharing a
part of you.
of ourselves too intimately with another
And
person.
that can happen in so many different contexts. And so I think for couples to talk about, where are those lines? Like where is giving of me to somebody else privately in a special way? These are the inroads. This is the familiarity. These are the things couples have to talk about.
Yeah.
And there's no, there's sort of no guidelines for where that line is for you exactly. But I think the principle is when it becomes something that feels special, that's outside of the couple, it's not protected by the relationship anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So just really important to make that a priority.
Yeah.
Because once you just have a few guideposts for the marriage, you can just stay within them and it's easy.
And if they get crossed in the case of, if you're listening to this and, somebody's listening to this and like, I think there's been, you have to treat it like the same kind of fair recovery as you would the other, because it involves a lot of the same elements of secrecy, coercion, hiding, betrayal,
manipulation.
Absolutely. And you don't want to minimize it and just say, well, because there wasn't sexual contact or physical contact, it shouldn't hurt as much. It absolutely hurts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And in some cases, it can be more severe. I shared this crazy example with clients before. I don't know if I've shared it on the podcast, but I heard this at a conference years ago in Atlanta from a therapist who worked in the inner city. And he worked with a couple who they were both sex workers. They were both prostitutes, husband and wife. So they would basically work all day or night, whatever, with their clients. And they'd come home. They actually were married and had like a life together. So very unconventional.
Yeah.
But they ended up in this therapist's office because he had gone to coffee with one of his customers.
Oh. Yeah, he took it to another level of intimacy,
changed
familiarity.
The agreement. Yep. Now it was personal.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why when people are like, "Oh, it's sex, whatever," I'm like, doesn't matter. Like you've now opened up another portal into somebody else's world that you have to protect.
Yeah, if you want to have a healthy relationship. For couples, the danger isn't only in sex. It's in any place where connection that should belong to you two, alone, starts leaking out somewhere else. If one of you raises a concern, don't dismiss it as jealousy or control. Take it seriously. Protect your bond by defining together what fidelity means, and by building walls around your marriage that keep your connection safe and exclusive. That clarity is what allows you to deepen trust and build something lasting.
If you're reeling from the pain of betrayal, even emotional infidelity, and you're wondering how to even begin putting the pieces back together, we've created a free resource called You, Me, Us, a way forward after betrayal. It's not about telling you exactly how to set every boundary, but it will guide you through those first steps of making sense of what happened and beginning to restore safety after trust has been broken. You can find the link in the show notes, and we'll send it to you right away.
Before we sign off, we want to show you an example of couples doing the work of healing, learning, and growth. It doesn't matter where you are in your personal journey or as a couple, because the work never stops. It just changes.
So today's example actually comes from a couple in our Courageous Together program. And it's a really subtle thing, but I think it's really powerful. And I felt this own shift in my own life as well, especially for a lot of guys. A lot of the times we don't know what to do or what to say. And so what she said is, she says, we have a lot of things, a lot of heavy things we're working through. She goes, I have a lot of things I'm working through. She says, but the transition for my husband has been, he doesn't really even know what to say still. She's all, but he knows that it's something he needs to just be like, stick around for.
Oh.
Yeah. So where maybe in the past he would find his way out.
Sure, if I can't do something about this, then I have no purpose here.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what she shared was that she would, it was clear that she had something heavy on her mind or something would come up. And she says, now he just at least stays put.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's practicing presence.
Yeah.
And that's really valuable.
Right. So she says he doesn't really even like say much or even know what to say. She's all, but there's something.
But he's not like taken off.
Right.
Yeah, that's huge, actually.
Right.
Even though it's very subtle, like you said.
I mean, how many times can you remember, I don't know, whether it's with me or someone you were trying to connect to, family member, somebody else, and you're like wanting to share something and they just sort of like check out, tune out, walk away, turn their back.
Oh, freaking brutal. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times the excuse is like, well, I have nothing to say. What am I going to say? Or there's nothing for me here. But her win or what she's sharing out, that was really cool. She just says, he'll even just kind of sit there and say like, I don't know what to say, but he'll like stay.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And probably very brave.
Mm-hmm.
There's can see a lot of helplessness in that action.
Mm-hmm.
But really, it's just counterintuitive.
Yeah.
He doesn't realize the security that provides.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's a great word for it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So yeah, good job, guys.
Yeah.
Love this example.